Hello, everyone. You're welcome. Welcome, everyone, to our pilot community meeting, Women in Government. We're just going to allow people to log on and settle in for a minute or two, and we will hit the ground running. We're happy to have you guys here. Welcome. I've taken the time to mute everyone for now. We'll unmute you when we're ready for you to speak. Welcome. I'll keep saying welcome to each and everyone. We're just going to give people a few minutes to log on and settle in, and we'll begin. We don't intend to go way past our time. We intend to keep everything within time frame. So yes, you're welcome. Okay, I think we will begin now, just so that we're able to cover a whole lot today. You're welcome to Foundation for Women in Government. My name is Watam. I'm happy to have you here today. Just before we start, we're going to just set some housekeeping rules. Please would keep everyone muted throughout the program unless it is your turn to speak. If you have any questions or comments, or you like to say something during the session, please leave your comment in the chat and we will respond to you. We'd also keep updating our website and all our information in the chat so that everyone can follow. Just to quickly go over what we would have today, we would have just a brief introduction of what Women in Government is, why we're having this pilot session today. We would also have our first speaker, we'll have our second speaker, we'll have a question and answer session, and then we will do a quick wrap up. So we don't intend to waste so much time. So about Women in Government, believe it or not, this is an idea that I had in 2018, but like every other normal human being, we're always so afraid to pursue our dreams. Should I say fortunately or unfortunately, this year, 2021, I had so many people around me that believed in the dream so much and kept pushing me to share what the dream was all about, because they felt that it was a solution that we were providing. And there were so many people reaching out in the civil and public space, civil and public sector in government, and they needed, this was a solution to them. So I started the NGO. It is called Foundation for Women in Government, and it is geared towards building a community for women in civil and public service. It's a community where we can discuss, meet, learn. Every time you hear about a community of women, it's usually in the private sector. I thought it would be wise to create something where we can have our own community to discuss, because our needs are probably different from women in private sector. We're serving over 200 million people. We can't take that position lightly in any way. So this would also give, the community will also give us an avenue to improve our capacity. It would be a place where we can receive mentorship, give mentorship, manage personal life, and also just empower ourselves in one way or the other. We intend to hold a session like this probably every quarter, and we're always willing and open to learning from everyone, within our circle. If you have any questions, if you have any contributions, just reach out to us. Like I said, our email will be in the message box. So reach out to us and we will work towards building our community together. So the reason why we decided to have this session today, the Mind Empowerment session, was because for you to achieve anything in life, everything starts from the mind. And if your mind is closed, there is no way you can go past, that mental blockade. So we thought it fit to first have a session where our minds will be open enough to achieving our objectives to whomever will be part of our community. And that's why we decided to have this session today. So while we have a speaker who will be speaking about mind empowerment, we have someone else whose mind was widely open enough to actualize what the mind empowerment message is all about. I'm very excited at this session. I believe that nobody will leave here the same. I say that without no joke. This speakers today, our resource persons, were carefully thought and picked out. And I hope that each and every one of you leave here fulfilled, inspired, and driven to pursue your future. So thank you once again for joining us. We'll go right into it without wasting so much time. I would like to introduce our first speaker today. Our first speaker is Othman Abdul Rashid. Othman Abdul Rashid is a business leadership consultant, coach, speaker, trainer, and author. Othman obtained his Bachelor of Engineering, specifically chemical engineering, from Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, and holds an MSc in oil and gas law from the Robert Gordon University, Aberdeen. Othman also has a PhD in oil and gas supply chain management from the University of Liverpool. He also has an MBA in marketing from the Dangote Business School in Bayero University, Kano. He is a certified John Maxwell coach, a teaching partner of the Empowerment Mentoring Program, an associate coach on mastering the business of your talent, a faculty member of Business Study Group, and a certified behavioral analysis consultant. Prior to venturing into consulting and coaching, he has over 13 years of experience in the highly competitive downstream oil and gas industry. He has a proven record of success in managing teams, sales forecasting, budget management, merchandising, vendor relationship, business and product development, training, mentoring, and staff capacity building. As an associate coach of MBT, a 6-week intensive course, he has helped over 70 business owners in his Ironborn team to make a collective revenue of 200 million Naira in 6 weeks. As Africa's top leadership coach, he has been honored to work with a diverse set of executives and aspiring executives in different countries and industries, from managers in central banks to executives in highly competitive business landscapes like the oil and gas sector, to members of House of Representatives, to creatives across Africa to enhance their lives and their businesses through his live events, books, podcasts, and personal coaching. His work is not only limited to executives. He has a special passion for providing sustainable water to impoverished communities through his One Deck Foundation. Without further ado, I would like to welcome Mr. Othman to take the floor.
All right, thank you very much, Watam. I'm super excited to be here, and I'm glad that you deemed me fit to come and have a conversation with the amazing people here. So I don't take it lightly, and I hope that I pray that I'll be able to impact lives, because that's basically what we're doing here today. Now, before we go further, I know you talked about what's the essence of this entire association, this organization, and I believe that this is just the beginning of something that is going to really impact lives and is going to really go way above what you imagine. And I believe that the bedrock of every of these kind of empowerment organizations is all about learning, right? About improving your mindset, about increasing how amazing you can be, right? And so I'll go straight into it because I know I have about 25 minutes and I don't want to waste too much time. I'm not going to take time, do the introduction. So let's go into it. Basically, if you want to change your life now, so if you want to change your life and live the best life you can live, I want you to put a 1 in the comment section. This is not going to be one of those aspire to perspire calls where I'll just come and talk and talk and talk, and you just sit down while they're watching Netflix and you just put this just on this Zoom. So I'm going to make sure that you're here with me. And so I want you to type 1 in the comment section. Okay, Rejoice types 1, Olabisi types 1, Zira types 1. Awesome, fantastic. Teresa types 1, fantastic. All right, so all of us here want to live better, right? We want to do better, want to be, do, and have more. I'll share with you guys a secret. What is the secret that can help you succeed? What is the secret that can help you move from the life that you're living now to the life that you want to live, to the life that you deserve to live? And I'll tell you, it is based off of 3 key structures. 3 key structures. Now, those structures, what are they? The first thing is the belief. The first thing is belief. The second one is awareness, right? And then the third one is the principles of success, right? And so if you're trying to move from where you are to where you want to be, you need to have those 3 things in tandem. You need to have the belief, you need to have the awareness, and then you need to understand the principles. Now, and this can be applied to everything, right? Anything that you want to do. You need to have the belief, the awareness, and then understand the principles. If you want to learn how to drive a car, you need to first have the belief, and people drive cars, and then you need to learn the principles of driving a car. Now, what I'm going to teach you today is what you can use to continually grow yourself. Because the one thing that helps people to succeed, the one thing that helps people to grow, the one thing that empowers your mind is learning. So this model that I'm going to talk about today is a model of how you can continually learn. And so we said that if we're trying to apply this model in the form of learning, first we need to have the belief, right? And you see, the thing is, I'm not going to assume that you have the belief, right? I'm going to show you, even if you don't have the belief, how you can get that belief. Now, let me ask you in the comment section, how many of you know how to ride a bicycle? Put a 3 in the comment section if you can ride a bicycle. If you can ride a bicycle, just put 3. You see, the questions I'm asking you, I don't want you to type too much, just 3. Just type 3. All right, great. So we have people that can ride a bicycle. I can guarantee you that when you first learned how to ride a bicycle, you didn't believe you could ride the bicycle, right? What happened was there was either an auntie or an uncle or a father or a mother or a sibling that taught you how to ride the bicycle. So what happens was at the beginning, when you wanted to ride the bicycle, you didn't have the belief that you could ride. But someone had a belief in you. And so what happened was that person borrowed you their own belief that you could ride the bicycle. And then they got you the bicycle. And then they pushed you with the tires. And then they removed one tire. And then they removed the second tire. And then before you know anything, they were pushing you. Then you just turned and you're like, oh my God, I'm alone. I realized that you were riding the bicycle alone. And then that was when you now began to have the belief that you could ride the bicycle. So here's the thing. You can learn anything. You can learn anything. But the problem is a lot of us don't have the belief that we can. But here's the thing. We've learned that you don't need to have the belief to start. All you need is for someone else to believe in you. Once that person believes in you, then you can now borrow that person's belief. And right here, right now, I can guarantee you that Watan believes that you can learn. That is the only reason why she's putting herself out there, despite being as introverted as she is, despite not liking stress as she doesn't like, but she's out here pushing it. So she believes in your capacity to learn. So even if you don't believe, even if you grew up and people told you were dull, even if you grew up and people told you that you were not smart, even if you grew up and people were telling you that you were ugly, even if you grew up and people were telling you that you won't amount to anything, it's fine. But what I want you to do is to hold on to that belief that this organization has in you. Just like the support for the bicycle, just like how you started the tricycle, I want you to start with this belief, understanding that, look, WIG.ng has your back. They believe in your capacity. And so even when you doubt yourself, even on days when you are faced with challenges and you can't go forward, remember that it is not your belief that makes you to start learning how to ride the bicycle. What you need is to first believe, to latch onto the belief of other people. And so what I want you to do is to latch on the belief of WIG.ng. I want you to latch onto the belief of Watan, that she believes in your capacity. Now, so we've talked about belief. We've sorted it out. As far as I'm concerned, all of us now have the belief. If you have the belief, I want you to type B in the comment section. If you have the belief, type a B in the comment section. If you believe, even if you don't have the belief, but you know that someone believes in your capacity to grow, I want you to type a B in the comment section. All right, I'm seeing just 2 B's, guys. We have about 15 people here. I want to see those B's coming. Type of B. Fantastic. Zira, thank you very much. Ure, thank you very much. All right, let's see more B's. Let's see more B's while I move on to the next one. Now, remember, once you have the belief, the next thing that you need to grow, right? Thank you, Rejoice. Thank you, Tolani. Thank you, Taiwo. You guys rock. I also believe in your capacity, right? So the next thing that you need to understand is the awareness. You see, when you have a belief, right, or someone has a belief in you, the next thing that you need is the awareness. When you thought about the bicycle, you needed to be aware that people could ride bicycles. I mean, look at it. When you were 1 year old or when you were like 10 months, you didn't want to ride a bicycle because you were not aware that anything like a bicycle existed. But by the time you got to like 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, you started seeing your neighbors, you started seeing other people wanting to ride bicycles. And then you said, you know what? The awareness comes into you that, hey, guess what? I want to learn how to ride a bicycle, right? And then you latched onto the belief with the awareness. So here's the thing. Even if you don't know how to learn, even if you don't know what it means to learn, right now, being in this group, being on this call, I believe that you already begin to have the awareness that learning is the most important thing that you need to do in your career. Learning is the only thing that will move you from where you are to where you want to be. Learning is the only thing that is going to open doors for you. And as long as you continually keep learning, you will continue growing. So belief is sorted. Awareness is sorted. Now, what are the principles of learning? That is what I want us to spend some time talking about today. What are the principles of learning? Because once you understand the principles, it's just like the riding of a bicycle. Belief alone wasn't enough for you to ride the bicycle. Awareness wasn't enough alone for you to ride the bicycle. You needed to know the principles of riding a bicycle. What are the principles of riding the bicycle? You needed to have hand-eye coordination. You needed to have balance. You needed to understand that you need to continually be in motion. If not, the bicycle is going to fall. Those principles are the things that continually helped you to ride. So the principles I'm going to share with you today is the principles of how you can learn anything. And learning happens in 4 stages. There are 4 stages of learning. You need to just know which stage you are on in anything that you want to learn, and how do you move from one stage to another, right? So 4 stages of learning. I want you to type 4 in the comment section. Just put the number 4 in the comment section. Let me know that you're with me. Leave Instagram alone, leave Facebook alone, come back here. We're going to, we're going deep into what we're talking about, right? I want to know that you guys are following me. All right, fantastic. So 4, right? So 4 stages of learning. The first stage of learning is the unconscious incompetent. Now, when I say incompetent, it's not an insult. So don't shut your mind and say, I'm not an incompetent, God forbid. Calm down. When you are incompetent at something, it means that you have not yet developed the competence and the ability to do it. That's all. It doesn't mean anything. Especially we Nigerians, we don't, any small thing, we don't like anybody to say something bad about us. right? So when they say incompetent, it doesn't mean that you are useless. It just means that you haven't understood the principles yet. So when you are an unconscious incompetent, it means that you don't know, right? You don't know, and so you don't know how to do it, and then you don't even know that you don't know how to do it, right? Let me ask you guys a question. There's something that I mean, so anybody that knows, so let me even ask, how many of you do yoga? So I know one time does yoga, but how many of you do yoga here? How many of you have ever done yoga? Yes or no? If you've ever done yoga, put a yes. If you've never done yoga, put a no. So yes or no, let's see, all right? Yes, okay, yes, okay. Let me get a no. I want to see a no. It's like this whole room is filled with all the yogis in the house, right? Okay, so let me ask you guys another question. Okay, so Olabisi says no. Let me flip another question. Right? So I'm an avid polo player, right? How many of you have played polo before? Yes or no? How many of you have ever tried it? So you see, what happens, all of you that are putting no, right? What it means is that you are an unconscious, incompetent at polo. You don't know whether you can play polo or not because you've never tried it. You don't know whether you can do yoga or not because you have never tried it. I'll tell you briefly about my yoga journey. I've been taking my wife for yoga for years, 3-4 years before I even thought about yoga. Until the awareness came into my mind, I saw someone, all this while I thought yoga was for women. So I never really thought about it. But when I saw that, oh, men do yoga, then I came. And in my first 2-3 yoga classes, I was already doing things that seemed to be advanced. And I realized that before I did it, I was an unconscious incompetent. So I didn't know, and I didn't know that I didn't know how to do it. So that's the first stage. That's the stage that all of us start. But then what is the next stage? The next stage is you become a conscious incompetent. What does that mean? When you become a conscious incompetent, it means that you try it and you realize that you can't do it. So before you tried it, you didn't know whether you could do it or not. So for example, a lot of you here, if I tell you to do a handstand, you don't know whether you can do it or not. And then when I say you try it and you fall, you tumble upside down. Then you become conscious. Then it comes into your mind that you are consciously incompetent. Guess what? The problem is 90% of people, this is where they stop. So they don't know that they can't do something. They try it, they fail the first time, and then they say, this is not for me. If you have ever done this before, put a 1 in the comment section. Don't be shy. This is an open group. This is not judgment. It's just for us to be aware. If you've ever done it before, whereby you tried something for the first time and you failed and you say, this is not for me. All of us have been through that journey before. All of us have gone to the stage where we stopped when something didn't work. Guess what? If you continue at it, you will move from becoming a conscious incompetent to a conscious competent. What does it mean to be a conscious competent? Now, I'll talk about driving. How many of us know how to drive here? If you know how to drive a car, put a 3 in the comment section. Put a 3 in the comment section if you know how to drive. Okay, great. Now, I want you to put a 5 in the comment section if you learned how to drive using a manual car. If you learned how to drive using a manual car, put a 5 in the comment section, right? So you know, if you remember, those of us, Olabisi, Zira, if you remember when you wanted to change your gear, when you started learning how to drive, what did you do? You first look down, press the clutch, look at the gear, change the gear before you drive. That meant you were a conscious competent, meaning that you could only be competent if you are conscious. Meaning that you can't do it at any time. Meaning that for every time that you want to do something, you have to be present. Have you ever been in a situation whereby you are lost in your car and it's at night, and then you reduce the volume of the music because you want to see the road clearly? What has the music got to do with your eyes? It just means that at that point you are a conscious competent, and anything that will take away from your ability to concentrate, you won't be able to do it. So let me do a brief recap. The first stage is an unconscious incompetence, meaning that you don't know and you don't know that you don't know. Then you go into a conscious incompetence, meaning that you are aware that you don't know. You tried it, you failed. Most people, this is where they stop. But then what then happens is that you need to continue. You need to expose yourself. You need to keep going. You need to keep moving for you to now move to a conscious competence, which is you can do it, but you need to be able to do it well. Let me ask you guys a question. All of you that know how to drive, if you are driving and you there's no road safety official here. It's just us. We're not going to tell anybody. If you've ever, when you are driving, you used your makeup, put a 6 in the comment section. Let me see. Don't worry, I'm not going to report you. Just be open. Just be open. Be free. I see it a lot. I see a lot of ladies, they red light, they just quickly put, their makeup, right? Now, could you have done that when you started learning how to drive? No, you couldn't. Because at that time, you were conscious competent, which now leads us to the next stage. The next stage is when you become an unconscious competent. You started as an unconscious incompetent, you ended as an unconscious competent. What does that mean? When you are at the level of the unconscious competence, it means that at that stage, you don't think about it before you do it. You jump into your car, you kick the car starts to move. How do you know that you're an unconscious incompetent, an unconscious competent? Is that if you, tomorrow when you go to work, by the time you get to work, I want you to think about how many white cars did you see on the road? You won't know, you won't be able to count. Why? Because your mind is not there. 90% of the time, once you enter your car, you're already thinking of what you want to eat for lunch. 90% of the time, once you enter, you already think about all the lists, all the to-do lists that you need to do when you get to work. It means that at that time, you have become an unconscious competent. Now, how do you now use this? Once you understand this model, you can use it in anything. How many of you are afraid of public speaking? Put a 3 in the comment section. If you are afraid of public speaking, put a 3 in the comment section. Great. Rejoice, thank you. Teresa, thank you. Watam, thank you. All right. So we've seen people that are afraid of public speaking. So now let me use this and I'll close with this, right? Celia, thank you very much. Let me use this and I'll close with this. So you've never tried public speaking before. You're seeing people doing it. You're like, man, I can't try this thing. What are you? You are an unconscious incompetent, meaning that you don't know and you don't know whether you can do it or not. And then someone comes and says, hey, you know what? Please come and give us a welcome speech. You're like, hey, Chineke. You now pick up the mic and you start stammering and you start sweating. And I don't know if any of you are Eminem fans. I'm a huge Eminem fan here. And then 8 Mile starts to come into your head. Knees weak, arms are heavy. There's vomit on the sweater already. Mouth weak. Yeah, you're just weak. You can't talk. You start to stammer. That is when you become an unconscious are a conscious incompetent. Now, maybe that happened to you in primary school. Maybe that happened to you in secondary school during assembly. And then you decide and say, you know what, I'm not good at public speaking. And you never speak in public again. Wow. Do you know the potential that you have that you are missing out on? Just because you gave up at the conscious incompetent stage. But imagine if you decided, you know what, I want to continue on this public speaking journey, and you do as I did. I'll tell you, when I first started trying to become a coach, speaker, and trainer, I was horrible at it. My first Instagram live video was in 2017, and it was horrible. I was shaking, I was stammering, NEPA took light. You know, everything was just happening wrong. And I wanted to give up. I said, you know what, I'm not interested in this coaching thing. Let me go and face my oil and gas career. Oil and gas was bringing money. But I said, no, I've exposed it. I've realized that I'm consciously incompetent. So what do I need to do? I need to continue. Now, what did I do? I needed to keep going. How did I do it? I downloaded Snapchat. I kid you not. I'm not joking. 100% true story. I downloaded Snapchat, and every day, in fact, the people that were on my Snapchat suffered. Every day, I'll open the camera, be on Snapchat, and I'll just talk about my day, talk about anything, and just upload it. There was no feedback, nothing. I just used to do it till the point where I got more confident. I started doing more Instagram live videos. I started doing more Zoom calls. I started doing more of all these things. I've trained NNPC. I've trained oil and gas companies. I've trained international organizations. I've trained people in the UK. I've trained people in Cote d'Ivoire. I've trained people different all across Africa and all across the world. Because I decided to be a conscious competent. Now, when I moved from a conscious incompetent to a conscious competent, guess what? I needed notes. So anytime I'm going to speak to people like this, I'll have some notes where I'm looking at what my next point is, and all that. Then I continued. And that's where you now get to mastery. Mastery is when you get to the point where you are an unconscious competent. And what happens when you're an unconscious competent? You come to this kind of call, no notes. In fact, full disclosure, I didn't know what I was going to talk about till I started recording, till I unmuted my mic. I wanted it to come from my heart. I didn't want it to be pre-planned. I knew that I was going to talk about something that has to do with mind empowerment, but I didn't know what energy. And because I've gotten to mastery, I've learned how to trust my intuition, how to trust my instincts. Because I've learned that sometimes when you plan a speech, the energy in the room might not be ready to receive that speech. And the essence of giving any talk is to change lives, not to come and impress people by your eloquence. And so when I come into a room, I gauge the energy. When I see what kind of energy is in the room, then I cannot decide what I want to talk about. But guess what? It's not that. It's because I have practiced it. It's because I have gotten from being a conscious competent to an unconscious incompetent. This particular thing that I'm talking to you about, I'm using teaching, speaking, and training because that's what I do. There's something that we call teaching dexterity. Teaching dexterity is your ability to teach a subject at different types of time limits. I can teach this thing that I talked about now for 1 hour, for 2 hours, for 3 hours, for a whole day, for 10 minutes, for 20 minutes, for 30 minutes, right? That is what happens when you become good at what you do. When it takes people hours to do something. So what are you doing? What arm of the government are you working in? How good are you with the things that you do? Are you good at making sure that all the online forms are filled on time? What level of competence are you at? And what are you doing to continue moving from one level of competence to the next? To the point where when they call you, you know about your entire organization. You can talk about it for 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 minutes, 2 minutes, 10 minutes, 2 days. How great are you at doing what you do? And so I got to the point now where I'm able to teach. I have key areas, and I'm very big on mindset. So when people are sitting down and they're just watching movies, what I do is I pick points. How can I use this in my next talk? How can I use this in my next talk? And what I do is I have certain talks. They are just there. I've written them down. I've practiced them. I've done a lot of things. I've moved left, right, and then I'm able to, at a whim, to bring it out, depending on the mood. And now it will just be like we're gisting and we're just talking, but it had to do with years of practice. And so rounding up, because I know that my time is up now, I looked at the time. I started at 3:11 and I have 25 minutes. So this is 3:36. I'll round up with this. What you need is the belief. What I'm already believes in you. What you need is awareness. You already know how to learn. And what you need are the principles. And Teresa has amazingly put it for us in the chat room. How to move from an unconscious incompetence to mastery, which is the unconscious competence. And as you go along and you're moving, I want you to know that I also believe in your capacity to grow and lead. Thank you very much, Watan, for this opportunity. I really appreciate it.
Wow, thank you so much. Thank you, Othman. Thank you. That was a wonderful session, just straight to the point. And I promised each and every one of you that you will not be disappointed. I hope that he has been able to open your minds, to let it run wild, to believe the unbelievable, that you can achieve the unachievable. Just as a wrap up to what he said, Othman laid emphasis on the importance of learning, continual learning. He said that the secret to success is belief, awareness, and applying the principle of success. He talked about the 4 stages of learning: the unconscious incompetent, the conscious incompetent, the unconscious competent, the conscious competent, and the unconscious incompetent, where you gain mastery. I hope that all these things that he has said today, you will not just take them lightly, but also start to apply them in each and your everyday life, so that you will be able to make an impact in the society where you find yourself, first starting from yourself and then flowing out to the organization where you work. I want to say thank you again, Othman. It's an honor, it's a privilege to have you here, and we look forward to having you in our other sessions. I think that our minds need to be open more than we really realize at different times. Thank you so much, Othman. Without further ado, we'll also go to our next agenda, which is to have the second speaker. Like I said, it would be very important to learn about mind empowerment and to move to somebody who has opened her mind enough to allow, these different stages of learning that Othman talked about, to also put them into the practical sense. So I would like to introduce our second speaker, Taiwo Mishe. Taiwo Mishe is a young Nigerian diplomat who is passionate about negotiation, development, and public policy. With about a decade of tremendous work in the diplomatic service, she has constantly displayed utmost dedication to service, efficiency, and prospect for growth. Taiwo emerged the best student officer of the 21st regular course of the Nigerian Foreign Service in 2014. She is a graduate of International Relations and Public Law from Université Mohammed Sank Rabat in Morocco. She also holds a master's degree in International Relations and Strategic Studies from the University of Lagos, Nigeria. With a burgeoning career in multilateral diplomacy, Taiwo has consistently been a part of Nigeria's delegation to the United Nations General Assembly in New York, USA. Taiwo is bilingual. With a written and spoken English and French languages, She serves as interpreters at the highest level of government. More than her role as a diplomat, Taiwo is very passionate about public speaking. She's a member and coordinator of the Eloquent Orators, an informal group of budding professionals that seek to build confidence in public speaking for young professionals. She also serves as a volunteer in Zahara's Dream Community and Women in International Affairs Mentoring Program, where she mentors young girls aspiring to have a career in the field of international relations. She enjoys reading, writing, and photography. She's the author of A Walk in the Desert, Diary of a Nigerian Scholar in Morocco. She's a change whisperer, silently infusing passion, change, and love for Nigeria into her circle and beyond. Taiwo and her husband, Wale, enjoy the company of their beautiful daughter, Arire Olua. Without further ado, please help me welcome Taiwo to the floor. Taiwo, you have the floor, please.
Thank you very much, Watam, and thank you so much for this opportunity. It is amazing to be here, and I'm glad you hit the call. I am glad you're providing this platform for women in government. It is such a big deal. You don't know yet, but I see it going really big, and I am confident that people who come after us would be glad Women in Government NG exists. So thank you again, and thank you everyone for being part of the program today. And yeah, today I'm just supposed to, I have 15 minutes and I'm just supposed to talk about mind empowerment and how I opened up my mind to be able to, I've written my book. I'm going to do a lot of assumptions today, so please bear with me and just, stay with me. First of all, I'm going to assume that, I'm going to tell us to assume that we're all farmers, which is what I did. And farmers, as per, if you want to farm, if you want to be a successful farmer, not just any farmer, right? If you want to be a successful farmer, you have to, first of all, spot a land, right? Cultivate your land. Not first. You have to know what you want to plant. You have to at least know what you want to plant. You have an idea what you want to plant. So, which was what I did. So I'm going to try to use the example of a farmer for us to understand mind empowerment. Now, first of all, the first things you should do, or I believe you should do, is clear your mind, which is what a farmer does. If you really want your mind to be empowered. So you clear your mind first, take out every form of distraction, everything. And the bedrock of mind empowerment is intentionality. You must be intentional. Intentional about what you want, about the picture you want to see, about the future you want, about the things you want to achieve, about everything you want to do. Intentional about life, about career, about family, about everything. That's the bedrock for me, being intentional. So first, you have to have a picture of where you're going to. And once you have that picture, I believe the rest will be easy. So second is to clear your mind. Clear your mind is the basics for you to start doing anything. Because Watam said something, and I needed to say thank you to Otman. That was really beautiful. I enjoyed every part of that session. A lot of times we don't even know that we don't know a lot of things. And then a lot of times we also stop at the stage of, oh, I can't do this. And you just stop and you don't do it. So, I mean, we have the opportunity now to tell ourselves that you can go beyond. There's the possibility of knowing and there's the possibility of being a master. So you can always tell yourself. you can always tell yourself that you can go beyond that anyway. So yes, like I said, first step, clear your mind. Second, believing that from what Othman has said, you must believe that you must believe in what you want. You have to have the belief. It is very important. And your mind is the ground for everything. Your mind, it's like when you want to grow something, your mind is the ground for the growth. Its fertility depends on what you feed it. That's what your mind does. So you must be aware of all of this. Like, so you treat your mind like a ground. The farmer treats its ground where it's going to plant. So your mind is the ground where you want to plant anything. Your mind is the ground, is where everything begins. So you must treat your mind, picture it in your mind first. And after doing that, the next, I believe, will be going into your planting season or doing the planting itself. And it is in the planting, you recognize what you want to do. It is in the planting, I believe, is the awareness of where you want to be, what you want to be, or what you want to do. Everything you want to do, everything you want to be in the civil service, everything you want to be in Nigeria, you can be it. I strongly believe. Yes, without a doubt, there are challenges. And for me, those are the weeds you need to get out of the way. The challenges, the distractions, you have to make a conscious effort to get them out of the way, to do what you want to do. So again, you have to recognize the weeds. You have to recognize the harmful agents that may hinder the growth of your crops, and you have to remove them. And all of this, like I said, is an intentional thing. It's an intentional act that you must follow. Again, for your mind, you have to treat your mind like the ground for planting. You have to act like a farmer for your mind. You must intentionally remove seeds or harmful agents, weeds. You must intentionally remove them from your field, and that's your mind. So in this regard, it means like you have to be careful what you feed your mind. You have to be careful what goes into your mind. Now, if you have a picture of where you're going to, if you have a picture of what you want to achieve, there are situations or there are cases where people will tell you you cannot be it. People will tell you you cannot do it. And it is at this point you must tell yourself that these are like weed, these are like harmful agents. You have to remove them. Like remove those things that will cause distraction in your way, all of that. So it is the next stage is planting, yes, I said, and then after that is nurturing your plant. That is where you nurture your mind. What are you feeding your mind? Who are you listening to? What are you doing? What are you reading? What are you doing with your mind, to have this growth in your mind? So all of this for me, they're very important things on how to, get things done. So about my book, I had this idea of changing Nigeria. And I was a young girl that at 16 or 17, I was in Morocco to school, and I was there for 4 years. And every time I saw something in Morocco, there was just that need to bring it back to Nigeria. There was the need to replicate it in Nigeria. So it was so important for me to open up my mind to that. So in Morocco, that was like the learning ground for me. There was a lot of absorption. And at the end of my 4 years in Morocco, it was so much for me. And I asked myself, what am I going to do about it? Am I just going to take it all in and just be there? I knew that I needed to bring it back home somehow. And that was what bettered the idea of my book. And it was in how to do it. it was in doing that made me feel like I have achieved the purpose of writing the book, or the purpose of bringing back what I saw in Morocco to Nigeria. People who read the book will tell you, or they have a vivid description of what Morocco looks like, even without being there. They have a vivid description of how things work in Morocco, even without being there. And I'm just hopeful that from one person to the other who reads the book, they can desire the same thing I desired while I was in Morocco. They can see the need for self-change, for one thing, for a change from self in Nigeria. That was it for me. It was about that. And I don't know, I am hoping that I've been able to, say all of the things about the book and how it was. Again, to mind empowerment, I don't know what else. I think Obman has said a whole lot of things I would have loved to say. And I think I would wrap it up here. It's about intentionality. It's about being intentional. You have to tell yourself what you want to see, picturing it, seeing it, and nurturing it. And like the farmer, if you see a good farmer, the farmer is going to go to the farm every now and again to check on what he's growing. That's nurturing. I mean, Watam is a very she loves plants, so she's one that inspires people in plant keeping. And she would be able to tell you that you cannot keep a plant just like that. You have to know what it takes. Every plant is not the same. You have to tailor it to its special needs. Not every plant needs sun. Not every plant needs water as much. I mean, they all need sun, but not as much, I would say. So you have to know what you want and how you want to achieve it. In the public service or in government, there are a lot of challenges, there are lots of things that may deter you as a woman. But first of all, you have to work on your mind. And in all of this, it is about being intentional, speaking to yourself every now and again. You have to speak to yourself, have the personal conversation with yourself as to where you want to get to and what you want to be and what you want to achieve personally. So I think that's where I'm going to stop. I know I haven't spent 10 minutes, but I mean, that's all I have to say for now. Thank you, Watam. I'm handing it back to you.
Thank you so much, Taiwo. Thank you for your brief session. I will never ever look at a farmer the same way again from what you have told me today. I mean, the depth that you have given to that analysis. As a wrap up, you have described that, that we are all farmers. I think, first of all, I've never even said it like this, that way. Maybe I would impute farmer in my middle name just to be sure that to keep my my plants and my seeds alive. You talked about having a picture of your farm. You talked about clearing your mind. You talked also about being intentional, as to what you want to achieve. You talked about how our minds are fertile grounds, and what we feed our minds or what we feed our fertile grounds are actually really, really important. You talked about taking time to recognize the weeds and the harmful agents that we need to take out of our minds. You talked also about what we feed our minds do, the stages of planting, recognizing your seeds, nurturing that, and also tending it, to its specific needs. I want to say thank you so much for your session. I hope that people, each and everyone who is joining us today, is able to see the transition and the translation of opening your minds enough to ensure that whatever seed that you have, is nurtured, is also tailored to specific, nurturing that it needs, and also to grow. Othman has made us recognize that we need to keep learning, to keep our minds open. And Taiwo has showed us that through her own experiences, the learning process helped her to open her mind enough and to author a book. So thank you so much. I hope both of you are not running away, because we've asked each and everyone that has a question to put out their questions in the comment in the chat. We will be going through the chat now to answer the questions that we have put down. Any of you can choose to answer the questions. If they're specific to you, I'll read them out and then you can answer accordingly. We have one from Celia Schritzner.
Celia.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so let me go ahead and answer that.
Great.
So Celia says, before a speech, because it's seasoned, with the advice for unseasoned speakers not be to practice a lot so that they get the confidence from knowledge until they get to the same level of proficiency. Exactly, and I talked about it. I said, when I was starting out, I used to shake. I was scared. I was really unsure. But then I started, I don't know if you were there, but I talked about how I downloaded Snapchat and I started using Snapchat to practice to practice just speaking and become more comfortable in front of the camera. And then I got to the point where now I can speak. And even when I was talking about that, I said, yeah, I was like, you need to understand that what happens is I have certain topics that I practice. And I said, even if I'm watching a movie, I pick things from, I go back, I practice it. One of my mentors says that you need to prepare for the speech that you have not been asked to give. So that when they ask you to give the speech, it comes naturally. This particular speech that I've given you, yes, I don't have anything in front of me, but you don't know, I can't tell you how many times I've actually practiced it. I've actually talked to people about it. And the best thing is, you see, especially if you're not proficient, right? If there are certain topics you want to talk about that you're passionate about, talk about it when you're with family. Talk about it when you're with people that you're used to. That gives you that confidence that it's just gist. It's just like a gisting that you're talking about it. And then the more that you do that, the better you get. So I hope Celia has been able to answer your question.
Thank you so much, Othman. We're still expecting other questions. If anyone has any questions to ask, please put them down in your in our message in the chat, and we will put it out forward so that Othman and Taiwo can respond. I would pose a question to you, Othman. I know that you always talk about, once you've told me that people have a lot of gifts that they are not able to, actualize. They keep it, stuck in their own comfort zone or hidden behind the scenes, just the way I did. I had this idea for, over 3 years and I did nothing about it. And I remember the first time I met Othman to tell him about this. There and then, like, Othman held me so accountable for so many things right there in front of him. Othman didn't even let me to leave his presence without opening a WhatsApp group. Othman kept saying, so when is the next program? I think Othman and I probably spent an hour meeting. Within that hour, we had created a WhatsApp group. We had created an event, this event. We had chosen a session, like everything just went through. I want you to, can you tell us how to also take the first step to whatever gift it is that we have or whatever idea that we have? Can you give us like 3 steps that we can actually take just to start to see everything go in motion? I know that you are not a thinker, you are a doer, that I know, but not everyone is like you. So what do we need for the push that that we would need to start that journey?
All right, I'll give you 1, not 3, 1. You need to understand that any idea that comes into your mind, it's not you that created that idea. So I'm a person of faith. So I'm going to tell you, my belief is that any idea that we have in our mind is God that put it in our mind. However you want to look at it. Now, I know that there's some self-help books that tell you the universe, yada, yada, yada. I feel like they create those books so that it can reach out to a wider audience. But my personal belief is that God puts those ideas in our mind. So here's the thing. Why I said I'll give you one is that any idea you have, I want you to know that it is either an answer to your prayer or an answer to someone else's prayer. So someone has prayed. God is not going to come and give the person. So somebody's praying, God, I want $10 million. For example, like me, I always pray for a black Lexus LX570 with red interiors and, alloy rims. I always pray about that. And I know that God is not going to come and give me LX570, right? Who knows? It might be from this talk. Someone can say, Othman, you know what, come and do one training gig. And before, yes, Teresa is very specific. I can even tell you the plate number if you want. AE15 ALK, Bauchi, Alkaleri, straight. Yes, that's the plate number. All right, so back to what I was saying, right? So any idea you have is either moving you towards that prayer that you're praying for, or is moving you towards someone else's prayer. So here's the thing. For every time that you have an idea and you refuse to act on that idea, I'm not going to mince words, but you are disobeying God. Bakam. So here's another way to look at it. Now, imagine somebody has been in government. A woman has been in government. She's frustrated about the work. She wants to grow. She wants to become better. She knows she has the capacity, but she doesn't even know where to look for. And she goes down on her knees, closes her eyes with one tear dripping, and she says, God, help me. And at that same time, Watam has an idea to start women in government. But then Watam decides not to act on that idea. And then this lady goes on her knees every night and she said, God, help me. And then Watam has the idea, a reminder on that idea. And then this woman gets frustrated and she says, God, I feel like my enemies are getting to me. I mean, I'm going to be a bit dramatic, right? Let my enemies die by fire. Now, who do you think her enemy in this situation is? The person that the idea was supposed to solve her problem. It's the same thing with business. You want to start a shawarma joint or you want to start a salad joint. There's a lady that knows how to cut onions like you can't even imagine. And she has finished school and she's frustrated and she's praying, God, I need a job. But only until you step up and open your salad joint, she's not going to have the job to come and cut onions. So the one thing I'm going to tell you, the one thing that helps me to push me to action is that anytime I have an idea, I don't take it as an idea. I take it as an instruction. So when the idea comes, I just look up and I'm like, noted, and let's go. Because I know that the movement towards my idea is two things. It's either it's going to help someone to help bring their dream to fruition. Now look at all the years that I've known you, Watam, and you've had this idea. But then we came at a congruence where I came out fully and I'm into coaching, and then you reach out to me. And then I helped you bring that idea to life. Imagine if I hadn't stepped up to coaching, to become a coach. You would have had the idea and you wondering, who will help me? Who will help me? And then you might go and meet someone else. Because you see, the problem we have is that most times when we go and share our ideas, we don't share it with people that have evidence of the results that we want. We share it with people that have no evidence, our family members. And what will they say? It will never work. In this Nigeria, women in government, they are not ready to work. They won't come. They will say you're not serious. They just want to eat rice and beans inside their green and white cooler. So, but when you share the idea with an empowering person, yes, it's very detailed because I've seen someone do that before. That's why. When you share your idea with an empowering person, that person will help you birth that idea. And so you need to understand that your ideas are an instruction, either towards your LX570 or towards someone else's LX570. Either ways, you don't want to be an enemy of progress. So when you find yourself procrastinating, taking action on that idea, do like this and say, I'm not an enemy of progress, and then start to move. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Othman. We will take our ideas seriously now, as we know that they are instructions. We will not play with it. I hope that each and everyone will also take this drive to put their ideas into motion. Taiwo, my next question will be to you. As a woman in civil service, I think that I'm sure that a lot of people must have told you, oh, you can't author a book, or you can't do this, or you can't do that. But I want you to also, because our needs are peculiar as women in civil and public service, apart from the lack of mind empowerment that we have, we also believe that our environment, the work environment itself, the structure, everything makes it impossible for you to do a whole lot of things. Can you quickly just put out to us how, first of all, you were able to shut that mindset, of not being able to be an author as a civil servant? And then can you also take us through a little practical journey of how that has been for you, like managing to write, and managing to do your work and not allowing each of the sides, more or less like be at loggerheads, but to kind of go together. So Taiwo, you have the floor.
Thank you very much again, Watam. So for me, I always say, I don't want to be the regular civil servant. No, I do not want to be what that picture everyone outside there has of the regular female civil servants. Everybody thinks somehow that civil servants, or female civil servants particularly, they go to work and they are trying to do egusi or eating granuts, or that's the picture most people have about civil servants. And again, it's back to what I said. You have to have a picture of what you want to be. What do you want to be? What do you want to achieve in 5 years, in 10 years? What do you want to have done? What do you want your CV to look like? How much money do you want to be in your bank account? What do you want to have on the table? I don't want to be the regular civil servant. I always tell people, everybody that sees me, I don't want to be the regular civil servant. You're not going to box me in that stereotyped definition of the regular civil servant. So for me, it's the first thing is the picture of who I want to be. First of all, maybe having worked in the private sector might have helped a little. It might have been one of the reasons why I couldn't, or I have seen myself not to be able to fit into that regular definition. And I think it is possible for every woman in government. Yes, you might think that, again, I could have come into the civil service and be like the regular people, and be like the people who come late to work, or the people who don't even show up at work, or the people who are doing egusi at work. I could really just choose to be like that. So it's a choice. You are a product of what you think. You're a product of your mind. You are a product of what you have pictured. So for me, first off, it is what I want to be. It is where I see myself. I do not see myself as that regular civil servant. I tell myself every day, one of the confessions I make to myself every day is, I'm going to be different in this service. And I mean positively different. And so when I checked about writing a book, people told me different things. And I noticed that some other people have done stuff. Some other people have written books. Some other people do things, and I don't see any rule telling them not to do it. I mean, it could have been what I did lazily. It could have been what I enjoyed doing. And this is something, like I told you earlier, I started writing this book 10 years ago. And like Otman said, like there were times I was discouraged. There were times I thought, I'm not sure I can even do it. I'm not sure. But then the moment I started seeing the answer to somebody else's prayer, like I thought, okay, maybe what if somebody who is going to go to Morocco by foot, right, reads it, or by any chance, if it gets to the hands of people who want to do irregular migration, if by any chance it gets into their hands, they're going to think twice, because I get a vivid description of how horrible that journey can be. So I'm thinking maybe that way it will meet a need. And so yeah, I went ahead, I did it. And hoping that it has not, or it's going to continue to, meet that need or meet a different need perhaps. But as to being able to do it together with office work or with government work, it is just the picture of, I just want to get this done. Just do it. I think that slogan is what works for me. Like, don't delay, just do it. Just do it. Like, I just tell myself that regularly, just do it. Just do it. A lot of times I will tell myself, those things will come to my head. Oh, are you sure it's going to be good? Are you sure? But like I said today, those are distractions. Those are the weeds in our lands. Those are the things, the harmful agents in our lands that we don't want to see. So you have to consciously remove them from your mind every time they come up. You have to tell yourself, no, I can do it, so I'm just going to do it, basically. And it wasn't as easy, I must say, but I just, with the belief that I can do it, I think that's what I just did it. So that's it.
Thank you so much, Taiwo. Thank you, thank you. It's always very important to see someone who is in the civil service and the public service space talking about their achievements, what they're doing, and what they can also do. I think for me also, a lot of times when I had to meet people or hang out and I say, oh no, I had to go to work on Saturday, or I have to go to work on Sunday, or they call me at 10 p.m. I'm at work, they'll be like, what kind of civil servant are you? And, I was really surprised that at their own reasoning or their own view, because I'm always mentioned to them, almost all the civil servants that I know work weekends. They also have very long hours. We don't sell egusi in the office, and they couldn't believe me. And so it is also important for us to use this platform to change that narrative, that they are young, agile, strong, intelligent, creative, innovative women out there in government doing great things. And I know so many of them. So through this platform, we're going to be introducing them in one way or the other. They're going to contribute to our podcast, to our sessions, to our live sessions, to our videos, and through every other possible means that they can contribute. We want to say thank you to everyone who has joined. 31 participants on our first event. I think, I want to give it up to each and every one of you who has joined. I want to thank most especially Othman and Taiwo for being such amazing resource persons. Just also a little bit of information. We plan to hold such events quarterly. The next event we will have will be in 3 months. And guess what? It will be about money, about finance, because everyone is so interested in talking about money, about finance, especially because we have little resources in our, little resources afforded to us at the end of the month as our wages and our salaries. We want to know how we'll be able to manage that and use that to also obtain maximum capacity in whatever thing it is that, or whatever journey it is that we are on. Just also to mention that this video will be uploaded on our website. So you would have access to it, to replay it for whenever you please to watch it. Just before we leave, the mind empowerment session and the mind empowered person would, I think for us to create a vision of that, it would be important for you to create a story of yourself so that you can have something that you keep, something that you look at, almost like a vision board. I will now share my screen to show you something that we created or something that we're going to put up on the website called The Story of You, so that each and every one of us can create our own story that will help guide our journey, and also to be able to tackle those struggles or those hindrances that keep us at a point without moving forward. So this will be uploaded on our website by tomorrow. You can download it, and also it will be free for everyone to download. Would encourage you to print it out, fill up the story, and if you can, just laminate it or frame it and put it somewhere that you can see, so that it can remind you of the story of your life that you are creating and where you intend to go. We also promise that there will be freebies for those who have registered and we have their emails. We're going to do a raffle draw, and each and every one of you will get a copy of either Othman's book or Taiwo's book. We believe that those books are very inspirational and they will be great for each and every one of us to read. But for today, we will share the freebies with the winner from the raffle draw. We would also put up the information on the book online for those who want to purchase. Thank you once again for joining us during our session. We are most grateful that each and every one of you joined today, and we hope to see you in 3 months. Thank you, everyone, and have a lovely evening. Thank you. We are most grateful. Thank you. Thank you. Bye, everyone. Bye.